Hello students, in this video I'll show you how to solve this type of question. If the confidence interval is given to you and we would like to write it in a different format, the format is the point estimate plus or minus the margin of error. How would you do that? So I have the lower bound and the upper bound of the interval. The lower bound is equal to 329.4 and the upper bound of the interval is equal to 458.2. I know that the lower bound is basically x bar minus the margin of error, and then the upper bound is basically x bar plus the margin of error. So see what happens when we add the lower bound plus the upper bound. So if we add the lower bound plus the upper bound, you will get 2x bar, and these will cancel together. So this one will cancel that one because plus or minus will cancel each other. Now we're looking for only x bar. So x bar is basically we divide both equations by 2. So eventually we're going to have x bar is equal to the lower bound plus the upper bound divided by 2. So I will do that right here. So to find x bar, we're going to say this is equal to the upper bound plus the lower bound. The reason why I put it between parentheses is because Excel does not understand that it adds first and then divides. So if I don't include that, it will only divide the upper bound instead of dividing the sum of the upper bound and the lower bound, and I will divide by 2. So that is basically the mean, or x bar. And then to find the margin of error, you're going to do the same steps again, but in this case you're going to subtract. So let me erase this, and let me do it again. So I know that the upper bound is x bar plus the margin of error, and I know that the lower bound is x bar minus the margin of error. If I subtract, then I will multiply this equation by -1 entirely. So I will have here the upper bound is equal to x bar plus the margin of error, and here I will have negative lower bound is equal to negative x bar plus margin of error, because when you multiply the negative sign, each of those signs will flip from negative to positive and from positive to negative. So if I added those two together, I will have upper bound minus lower bound is equal to, this will cancel with that because they have opposite signs, and I will have 2 margin of error. Now I want 1 margin of error, so I will divide both equations by 2. I will have upper bound minus lower bound divided by 2 is equal to the margin of error. So basically the margin of error, or the error, is equal to the upper bound, let me put it between parentheses, the upper bound minus the lower bound, and then divide everything by 2. So the margin of error is this one. So I will copy those values and put them here. I have the margin of error goes here, and the mean goes in the first box. I hope this video helped you answer this type of question, and I will see you in a different one.